Oh
All
my
right, that actually
God.
brings us to a good point because it's been a while, so I think all of us could use a little recap. So, what was the last session you were in, JP? The
Oh
one with
boy, I think
the one with the medical quarters with the door being opened and then zombies swarming.
no, I was told about it. I was on the session before, which, if I remember, was us in the cave. Like all last thing I remember, I think is that we left off in the cave. So we're seeking like refuge for like a bit with all the weird
Children.
hive mind children.
Hmm.
Oh,
It-
so
it
you weren't here for the
yeah.
funny town and the wall of bile, maybe? Question mark.
No.
No, we were
Okay.
not here for zombie.
Are the
TLDR.
children still
Found a
alive?
fortress. Found a
Oh, right.
fortress. It was like a medical encampment. Bunch of zombies.
Also, they're after us.
No,
Not
anymore.
really.
No.
We've escaped them.
Yeah, it was all from the basement, and I think we.
Yeah,
ran?
essentially, let me show them up for just a moment so that we can. Yes, so essentially, it was part of the abandoned crossing, so a ford over the river. And you have the party checked out the location. I believe you do see the loot handout for that session, and I think it was determined who takes what. I'm not sure. Fun thing is, in character, you do not yet know, but every organic member of this party has failed a saving throw, and you are now afflicted by a new deadly non-magical virus. But so far, you are showing no symptoms.
Okay. Do I need to roll anything for that, or
It was already
was I?
rolled by, I believe, Kali was like controlling your character on that session, so because I asked for a saving throw from everyone apart from well, Crush and Dagger, which I will have an idea what to do with them.
Got it.
Loot device. Yeah, loot was had, which I think it was handed out. It's from the session 16 medical quarters. Go to players.
I don't see it. Oh, there, I see it.
Can we? Yeah, this is.
If you go to the top left, there's a way to separate them back into separate pages. It'll show that little stack of.
Right, view single page. Okay, for whatever reason, it's hold on, show players.
Just in case, if
One bag of beans from the butcher session. Oh.
Yeah, I forgot, but then I remember that. Yeah, that was an item I specifically thought for Hanabi. Because I think it worked thematically. But yeah, that was that. Then there was very short encounter because essentially the crossing had like 2 places of interest, more or less. So that we didn't have to like spend too much time just aimlessly wandering around, which was this thing. And essentially, what happened then, you grabbed a whole bunch of other, primarily Gerard and Fruit grabbed a whole bunch of documents and papers from the main command tent. And what happened is that a revenant of a fallen commander has risen up, called the Alarm. If decided not to fight it, which, I mean, it would be a tough fight, one that would grant you some progress to milestone level, but running away is also fair. And the boss itself is
kind of forgot about that.
is this pleasant fellow. This is what Fruit and
that handsome boy is not menacing at all.
Gerard have seen. And also, as you were escaping, because you did pass the skill challenge successfully, you did see that Ashen Knights, veterans, and Wraiths started to rise up. And this is actually like a small bit of retcon, not a retcon, but essentially adding to the description that as you are leaving, successfully escaping the crossing, it doesn't seem, or rather I speak plainly, the enemies do not disappear. Whatever they are, whatever power sustains them, they simply do not go back to like, oh, the player characters are not around, so we just despawn. No, these fuckers
Like
are staying
Skyrim
around.
mode, like awesome in the wind.
Yes, these fuckers are staying around, and you have, with your experienced adventurer eyes, you are clearly see, and this is something that you should remember on your way back, assuming depending on what path you take, that the crossing will be almost certainly occupied.
Let's see. Okay.
Essentially, me and Gerard stealthed really good, like over 20 for both of us. We went into the captain quarters and we were just like putting our hands on the table and just shoving everything into our bags, like just stealing everything.
Yeah.
And then it woke up because it had a 27 perception.
Yes.
And we sprinted out of the room so fucking fast. We were like, oh, fuck that. Fuck that.
It was so fast that she left me behind.
I left him to die. I sprinted out. I was like, every man for himself.
Yes. So that was that. And I'm trying not to, but at some point there will be enemies with either that can also fly or have holding spells or ranged weapons.
Yeah, Shadow was like, you know he's like in your CR, right? And I was like, yeah, but have you considered it through this terrified? We're getting out.
Mechanically, yes. Roleplaying wise, no.
Role-playing wise, I don't want to fucking deal with it.
And also, I think last session that we had was just like, what, 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Gerard Lux has turned around, because if you see a chat, the last 3 rolls, he had like nat 20s in our
Yeah, he had, like,
Oh my god. Yeah, I
He had
see
like
that.
4 nat 20s in this fucking thing.
What? Yeah, 3 in a row. Holy shit. How do you do that?
I was literally over here godlike for all of like 6 seconds.
Yes, and then before our actually no, yeah, let's continue with the recap for the port of Gunleaf itself. I believe, and the description I gave was that when you reached the city, or maybe, okay, I will give the description again because I might expand it a little bit. It might be like small retcon here and there. Because when you started reaching the city, first, even like just outside the walls, you have seen the remnants of the camp, like refugee camp. A mass of tents being sprawled all across the fields, hugging the walls. Plenty of them abandoned, pretty much all of them abandoned. Some of them have like still decaying bodies in them. You can hear the sounds of flies and other mosquitoes, bugs buzzing around, feasting upon this what's the fucking word I'm looking for?
Decayed.
Yes, feasting upon this decay. There are plenty of signs of riots, anarchy, stuff being burnt down. If you see someone alive, like not even bothering you, but just like people skin hugging their bones, malnourished, starving folks that are just staring, like hugging their knees, sitting down, rocking back and forth, or just staring idly somewhere up front or to the ground with sunken, hollow eyes full of despair of hopelessness. And that's the first thing, because then you notice that the main gates, the entrances to the outside districts, because essentially, like the picture you see, and I hope you see it. I didn't fuck up
Yes.
this time with the token vision. Yeah, because it's a representation, but it's like general idea of what the city is. That it's a built upon a half crescent moon. Crescent moon? How the fuck do you spell that? Half crescent moon with the outer districts, as the name implies, they are like on the outside. They are like form the crescent itself, and the main inner districts, the noble, the aristocrats, the like royal, basically the whole government, the richest of the rich are they're like in the inner district that also has access to the sea. And essentially you see that the gates to the outer districts are in some cases just wide open, completely abandoned, deserted. In other case, you see they are blasted open, destroyed, probably through use of some explosives, gunpowder, maybe wild magic. But as you carefully start picking around the corners, because this is a huge city, a metropolis in fantasy terms, like easily in its prime, it had hundreds of thousands of citizens, because this was the hub of trade, naval power, like civilian naval power, and whatnot. So the urbanization is quite strong here. Like the buildings are tightly built. It's pretty dense and thick. And primarily the first thing that hits your eyes, apart from the general sense of dread and desolation, there is no guards visible. That is not to
We
say
will become the guard.
the streets are completely lifeless, but the most you get as you carefully step in is some beggar-like looking folks just hushedly scurrying around the corner or like picking from one of the dark back alleys, looking at you with like, at first maybe with like calculation, like maybe we can take them, but then like looking all the stuff that you have, and perhaps sensing how strong or deadly you are, or you are looking, even if you are not feeling this yourself. They give you a rest. There are some shady bandit, like fag-like looking folks from a distance, glancing at you as they're like passing the streets. There are obviously various, maybe not sprays, but like painted signs that clearly do not look like something official. They more look like gang marks.
Looks at Thrude. Can I join a gang?
And of course, if you decide to look around, I can already tell you that like with just basic searching, you are unable to find any non-ransacked, non-pillaged shop. Like whatever business was existing in the outer districts for now, like without spending considerable time, and probably in the close future, we're gonna get to that, doing some skill challenges, you probably won't be able to find merchants still operating here, because clearly that place in the very recently, in the last couple of days, went through a period of anarchy. With even without checks, you can like start putting things together that most likely guards or Actually, hold on, let me see the handout because you know some stuff about this town already.
Due to my
Oh, yeah,
poor decision.
that was so give me a second, Gav. I will get to you in a moment. Oh yeah, that's basically base knowledge that you know that because they are like this was a rich city and they were able to employ a lot of guards, but guards as in mercenary guards. And you can figure out that perhaps when shit got too hot, sure, some of them maybe they were feeling honorable and they tried to fight until the bitter end, tried to keep control, keep order, but they failed, they died. And some simply just fucked off, deserted, abandoned their post, and left the masses of citizens and refugees, because clearly some have managed to arrive here before the passage here became too dangerous. They were left to their own devices. Plus, you can imagine that whatever spilled through the abandoned crossing, it might have reached this city as well, which brings me to a point, so I don't forget. I will show you the... yeah, essentially from the stuff that you got, similarly to medical notes, this is like condensed version of what you were able to figure out from the notes from the commander.
Oh.
So abandoned crossing, command notes.
Oh, nice. We got the mines.
Reminds me, I need to show and reveal that thingy in the map. Ah, I already did that. Okay.
Does this seem like a city where like there is maybe one or two government buildings that are like holding out, sort of like sectioned off, or does it seem like the whole city has fallen to this anarchy?
That brings us to a good point. We can start doing skill checks, and there are especially two that are relevant to the current situation. Whoever wants to try, or if you want to do basically one person helping the other doing the check, there is one perception DC 16 check, and there is DC 20 investigation check to be made.
Would someone like to give me advantage for perception?
I don't think I can. 1 second.
I mean, you can just like declare
Okay.
you're like aiding, and then just person gets advantage. I think this is how we handle this so far.
Okay, then I will give you perception advantage.
Okay, and
I don't have good investigation, so someone else.
Me neither.
Looks at Rogue.
Nope.
This is Rogue's. Looks at
Rogues.
Gerard.
I'm gonna
muted.
say even if you fail, I'm gonna give the information.
Oh, I've been talking this whole time.
But it will be
Oh.
with like interesting stuff happening.
Nice.
That's
Oh,
essentially
okay.
like what 4, not 20 in
Four
a
in a
row
row.
for Cap.
Yeah. Jesus
Someone
Christ.
check your die. It's way to
Timora
die.
is here.
Way to
Timora
die.
is here.
I mean, funny story. I deleted that, but I was testing our roll for like spoiler, And basically the first roll I tested was also natural 20. Alright,
The goddess of luck blesses us.
let me reveal the stuff. Essentially, what you have just found out, what was just revealed to you, you are able to determine through, I'm gonna say, at the very least, because this is a big city and you had to do a lot of leg groundwork. So I'm gonna say, with such successes, 3 hours have passed. Because with the successes, you're also able to basically avoid getting into trouble. Because, well, yes, on one hand, you are pretty confident in your abilities that you can handle a bunch of wannabe fucks. That they are not, unless they are fucking mutated monsters with wild magic, they should not be too much of an issue for you. But if the city itself is such a state, and also as you read through, you realize that not the entire city is such a state, and essentially the perception fragments about the inner districts being protected, yeah, that's where the Bioshock inspiration comes through with what is happening in the inner districts. And I should say probably not the game itself, but the backstory and what was happening before shit fell through.
First of all, I'm definitely like at the back of our group watching all the children and Gerard. And anyone who like gives us looks, I like stare them down basically until they back the fuck off. Second note, can you please play the music in the watch party so that I may listen to it?
Oh, okay.
Sick. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm just telling people what I observe over these few hours.
Yeah, essentially, for simplicity's sake, we are assuming that the information revealed in the handout is known to the entire party. Unless, for whatever reason, you go out of your way to hold back some information against some party members, but I don't think that should be the case in this situation.
Are we able to do religion checks for the murder of crows? Like the cult crow symbol?
Well, you know, you can give it a try, but with those checks, that high advantage and that natural 20 on investigation, it shouldn't. But Gerard, you are reminded of a certain crow that was weird. Back when you met a talking eagle. I'm not sure if you Cap were around that session, but maybe you were.
The talking birds?
Yeah.
The talking eagle, the eagle specifically was talking,
Yeah,
and
eagle.
then it also mentioned something about a crow being a. Well, okay, fuck, was it a crow or a raven?
It is a crow, I believe.
Yes, a crow that was yeah, what's the fucking word in English? Familiar. That was a familiar, and then basically. Then you recall that throughout those 2-3 hours that you were like investigating and doing stuff, and actually come to think of it, when you entered through the gate, not only you've seen a sign painted on a wall with dried up blood, but you also seen crows sitting on ledges of buildings high above. And you might think, I mean, sure, it's a big city, it's starting to decay, then various vultures, basically the animals that live off carrion feeders, eaters, sorry. They're like, sure, they're like hang around, but you could swear, and then Fruit with her like insane perception would probably also notice some movement once or twice, that those crows, when you are like around and you like seem to notice them, they just like and fuck off
Hmm.
and disappear.
We've been spotted.
I only got a religion of 10, so I don't fucking know if that gives me anything. But yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I figured.
It doesn't speak to you like to any specific religion. Like maybe, but that's up to you. Like if this world had like belief in the Raven Queen,
Yeah.
Can I roll a religion?
you can try. Yeah, so essentially like if you want, because again this is a element of the world that you can decide like if it existed or not. Like if we want to basically say that this world had belief in the Raven Queen as a death goddess, or maybe some other sort of deity, then that brings the idea to mind. But with those checks, it doesn't speak to you of any like organized religion or well-known religion. But for Gerard more, this definitely gives you creepy cult vibes.
May I roll? I just realized I do have religion.
We love the Raven Queen in this house.
But yes, this gives you a bad juju. Like creepy cultist bad juju.
Mhm.
Yeah, with a 17, this is definitely not someone who follows Raven Queen. This is
A mother bullshit.
A problem.
this is something malevolent and
We don't worry about.
gives you definitely creepy vibes.
And even worse, Juju.
And sorry, what was that? Samala, I spoke over you.
Oh no! Just adding to Captain Gerard comment where it's like another problem, and Hanami was just like that we don't have to worry about.
You don't know that.
Yeah.
Just lead the town.
And
That is fair.
We could, but we do need to.
also, yeah, because I was, which Hanami comment, while legit, brings me to another point that I feel like I need to remind you, like above the board to players, because I imagine, sure, you probably had you had your own ideas, what to do in the city, and you are just fine to do completely fuck all and just like fuck off. Like legit, I might have to like wing some stuff more, but that's fine. I'm used to winging it. But as a reminder, while you believe about the sanctuary, you do not know yet what is the exact position. And while you vaguely know, and let me put you back to a map for a moment, you vaguely know that it is somewhere, in the like this basically western portion of the map. It is still pretty big place if you had to like search for it, and the characters do not have that sense of impending doom just yet. I would think, unless you want to, but above the board, most likely you will not have time to search every hex by your hands alone. So either in this town or in this port or maybe further down the line, somehow you probably should look into acquiring information.
Well,
And also,
I'm not
on top of that,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
on top of that, we need to restock on shit. So, like, even if we had to deal with a gang, I don't really give a shit as long as we get enough supplies to live and,
well, we do need, looks at all of you, cart, horse.
What did you just say? Looks at all of you, what?
We need a cart and a horse. Horse and buggy.
Looks at children, looks at you, looks at children.
Alright, something you're missing is literally the first session we have someone died because they were trying to fix their car.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's not our problem.
Okay.
It will be if our car gets stuck. Then what do? Is we have to carry all of the children of the cart and call our all of our supplies. Like no.
We'd be lucky to find a living horse that hasn't been eaten yet.
And
Undead
if
horse.
we have to leave really quick, it's gonna take a long time to try to get the cart out.
For reference, a full-on cart with a horse loaded up moves at 20 feet per 6 seconds.
Not if we give it haste.
Who here can cast haste, motherfucker?
The horse.
Shut the fuck up.
Out of curiosity,
This
I'm gonna
bitch.
check. No, Mustering didn't have that.
You always
Okay.
rush into things. But we'll see what we can find. We don't know. It's possible to find a horse, but... At the very least, I'm willing to get a horse and cart so that you stop asking about it. So...
Like a kid, like a real life kid in a supermarket. Can we have candy? No, we have candy at home, and just the kid keeps annoying until they get the candy.
we shall give candy.
In other news, if we really want to gather information, best place to do it, tavern.
If there
We just
is
sit.
one.
We listen.
Most shops have been destroyed. I don't know if you read through the notes.
I did. It's still worth a look, if anything.
We should look for a gathering of people in general. Like any sort of... like communal shelter area.
Like
I
big
mean, we could-
congregation.
Could create a gathering.
I would rather not. I'd
No.
rather find normal people just being themselves.
So you
Trying to
don't want me
live.
to do a street performance.
I don't. More eyes on us is worse.
I have a disguise kit. I can be disguised.
You have horns and wings and a tail.
That's what duct tape is for.
Okay, so disregarding that plan, should we try to find like the merchants first, a place to like stay for a night? What should we do first? I don't know how safe we are going to be walking around the town with like 4 adventurers and a bunch of kids.
We should, honestly, thinking practically about this, we should ally ourselves with one of the gangs, as then we would get some protection. Place to stay at their place of, headquarters. But we would need to research which gang we would want to join.
I don't know how many days we have before we need to leave.
Regardless.
Yes, it is ultimately your decision, but from what I'm hearing, essentially you have definitely one goal that the entire party agrees that you need to restock.
Yeah.
And get information. Yeah.
And get information. So your two main objectives. And also you might think about another objective depending on like what happens next, as in how do you imagine continuing your journey? Will you continue journeying through the ground, or would you risk it by the sea? Assuming you will even have a chance of acquiring transport and someone willing to transport you by the sea.
Have we heard of the Umbral Tides? Because we've been mostly on land by now.
I
Do we
think
even
that
know?
question came up beforehand, and if it didn't, I could have sworn we had something similar to talk, and I think my answer back then, and I think it should be the same right now, it's up to the player character itself. Like if you think you might have heard about that basically big sources of water are dangerous, or maybe you lived next to one, that's completely alright for you to know that, hey, waters are really dangerous.
To be fair, every piece of water, we've had like several bodies of water that have either attacked us or given us horrible, maddening visions. So,
Dragon water.
dragon
Lake.
water, dragon water. So,
I mean,
I think
that
in
one,
general I'm hesitant, but I don't know if she'd know the extent of the Umbral Times. So. I gotta BRB for a second, so y'all can do whatever.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
how
I
do
feel
you
like at
fucking-
least.
Sorry, how do you? Oh, okay, whisper.
I want to see if I can solve this dilemma by having us have a slight dilemma.
Okay. So you mean the how the fuck do I call that place?
There's
Yeah, I
some
know.
sort of town. I just don't.
The Pioneer's Gate. The very first thing when I wrote in the handout that yeah, you can use that place to justify flashback purchases. I wanna say usually like up to uncommon, but I reserve my right to like veto some things because depending on the situation, like some supplies might have been restricted, limited, and whatnot.
Well,
Okay, I'm just gonna check something. else.
Plus, I know like flashback purchases, but still like recall like how much money you could have possibly have back then.
I've had like 1,000 gold and gems this entire time because of my cloak.
Ah,
I
and
can-
that
I
you,
can
that
buy-
you didn't spend.
yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I've been holding on to this shit forever. Yeah, it's 10 gems. Each one's 100 gold each. Yeah.
All right.
Where's the price thing for the Kasoon site, or what was the website? Oh, Magic Item Prices. Never mind. I
we
found
pinned
sorry.
it. But
Yeah.
I guess the quickest way into getting into a gang is by stealing from them and then promising to pay back the debt. Roll sleight of hand.
I don't think that's how it works. I am unsure though.
Back.
Okay, well, I would at least like to attempt
We
to
had
rob
to
somebody
take
that looks
each
like they
one
have
with
money.
us.
It's been a while since I've stretched these fingers.
I
I'm
don't
just
think
saying,
anybody
do we-
here
do
looks
we
like
do-
they have money. First of all, Small, what'd you say?
Hanami's asking, do we need to take the kids with us? Is there possibly an orphanage or something in this town?
I've probably been scanning the buildings looking for, if not an orphanage, a place where like sort of like a no man's land where normal people can live and have shelter if there is one. I don't know, like a refuge.
You can attempt to find something like this.
I
I
would like
mean,
that.
skill check.
How a skill
I
check?
will aid. I completely forgot through his name for a second there.
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say in the end it will fall more under investigation because it's like sure it's like about spotting stuff, but then it's also like making sure it's actually like workable for you,
Mhm.
for your
19.
purpose. All right. So I'm gonna say like looking for this will take you another hour, and that's what Fruit and Hanami are doing. Is the rest of the party following them as well, or are you? Is Gerard and Beatrix doing their own thing?
Well, I'm on a leash. I have no choice. So
You can do as you wish.
Oh,
okay,
I
I'm
don't
going
think
to
it's-
hard stealth immediately.
I'm gonna let you go up to chaos. I don't care anymore. It's not my problem.
I don't even know if that's good enough stealth.
yeah, I like PF2E because that'd be hidden, and you wouldn't know if how good or bad you're doing.
Mhm.
You see, I just imagine you just take the leash off, and then Gerard immediately crouches like Skyrim stealth and tries to walk away.
Third would definitely be like, "You're not doing well," like, cause she has passive perception 20. She'd be like, "Fucking try your form again."
I'll get a chance to roll stealth later, but for now I'm gonna start scouting out possible marks for cash acquisition.
Very well.
Acquisition.
Just like they're all made. 11 stays, and that will have an effect. Interesting effect. Hopefully.
I'm only scouting. I'm not
Imagine-
doing anything else. Just scouting. Just
I'm just imagining a cart go by, and it's like, where'd Gerard go? Oh, wait, there he is. And he's just... it's,
you know what? Fine. I've had a long rest. I haven't used any of them. I'm really trying not to use them. At some point, I kind of want to ask to replace the feat, but for now, I'm
You
just
don't
gonna
have
use
to. It's up to you. Sometimes rolling claw can lead to interesting stuff.
it.
it's the perspective of who sees it as interesting.
At least I rolled better.
All right.
I look a little bit more in the shadow.
All right. So that 17 stays because lucky you can't reroll lucky
Nope.
twice. So
Nope.
that 17 stays while Cap is doing his while Gerard is doing his own thing, trying to basically scout out a place that might have money, if I understood right.
Scout people, basically. Maybe somebody who has more than 50 gold. Someone worth emptying the pockets of. I'm gonna mug someone.
All right. All
Like
right.
that.
Right. So that's what Gerard will be doing. Batrix.
How tall are the buildings in here? Like, cause on the image, obviously they're like tall, but I don't know how they are in truth.
On average, assume that the again because of the urbanization, that general tallness of buildings all around you at any point in time is around 30 to 40 feet.
Okay,
That's on
I
average.
think-
That's on average. You might be getting places that have low or higher.
Okay, I think that I will follow. I'll just say with Hanami and Truth, and
All right, I forgot the
was-
fucking advertisements. Piss me off. Because for the reason, sorry, apologies for the disruption, but for the reason, like, I can use adblock on my browser, but you cannot use adblock on this shit.
yeah,
Yeah, I had to disable it too.
Rather, I didn't even have a chance to use adblock on this, but I don't know. We'll see. If the ads will be too disruptive, we might just do it that I just send you links of what I'll be using for the session, and if you'll be liking that stuff, you can like use it on your own in your own background. Oh, yes. Apologies, JP.
it's okay.
You can continue.
I think that what I would like to do is that if we ever find like a street that is relatively empty, I want to fly up to one of the roofs and try to scout from there.
Okay. Do you have an idea for what you are scouting? What is your end goal for scouting?
Yeah, I want to look into the inner, because in the handout it says that if there's any trade left, it's probably like on the inner districts. And
Yep.
I would like to try to see if I see any, again, like we said, congregation of people or stores that might be open, things like that.
All right. It will be difficult, and I will explain why in a moment, as I will be seeing a result. But you can definitely give it a try.
Try to perception, investigation.
You know what? In this case, it's just like purely about seeing, so perception works.
Okay. Yes.
All right. Okay, so keep that in mind. I might ask to like repeat what you're doing. We're gonna, because we are now split into 3 parties. For simplicity's sake, I'm gonna say that Crush and Dagger are acting as a bodyguard / nanny for the kids. Alongside Fruit, because I think Fitz, fucking hell. Fitz, Hive kids are following Fruit. So, starting with your roll, 19. There's a bad news and good news. Bad news, you are unable to find an orphanage. Sure, there are, like, they most certainly existed in this town. But 1 or 2 buildings that they look to you like they were an orphanage, yeah, they are not really in great shape, and they seem to be abandoned. And some of the sights that you see inside, they fill you with either great sorrow or great rage, or probably both. Without going into too many gruesome details.
Oh, I see.
However, you managed to find something else. Because at some point, you do recall that the Golden Lions were supposed to have their headquarters in here. And sure, for a moment, for a while, you think because like the entire search, basically those actions that the party is doing now, they basically gonna take you another let's say another 2 hours. So we're like crossing like past noon. However, and you think that, oh yeah, they're like, former mercenary based order. They are basically like, brushing shoulders with important and rich people, so they obviously have their building in the inner quarters. But with that 19 investigation, you are proven wrong. You are able to find the building that at first doesn't seem to have like many signs of life from the outside, but you see the heavy, very heavy, clearly locked doors, the windows that are barricaded, like closed off and barricaded. It seems like that whoever was still operating this building, maybe, who knows, maybe the Knight Commander left someone to like watch over it, started making some preparations, and while there is some damage from the outside compared to the other stuff, this place looks like a mini fort. That said, it doesn't seem to have like, you do not actually, yeah, before we continue, like, seeing that place, are you trying to just knock on the door, or are you trying to seek passage in? Fruit?
Can I watch the door for a bit to see if someone goes in and if there's like a secret fucking handshake or some shit?
Alright.
Can I like stealth and just watch the door for a bit?
Yeah, you can roll stealth, and I'm gonna say. Alright. I'm gonna say. Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. You wait like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you see no movement. Like, no one approaches this door specifically, and there are no signs of lights inside. And maybe because the walls are fake, but try as you can with your like passive perception, you don't think you hear anything coming from the inside. But what you do hear is a sudden flap of wings close by to you, like within 20 feet of you. And as you like probably whirl around, you see a crow sitting on one of the ledges of the buildings. But then stepping from the shadows, you will see. Just a second. Ship server. you see a rather shady-looking fellow.
Pretty
And,
shady.
And on that, with this like very intense but slightly wicked grin on his face that steps from the shadows, clearly looking at you.
Is he actually holding a human face?
You know what? Not in his hand, but something resembling that is notched on his belt, alongside what seems to be some fragments of human bodies. But on that note, we're gonna cut the scene here and jump to Beatrix, because yeah, for Gerard's house is gonna be happening. So, Beatrix, it proves to be quite difficult because you realize that while the town, the city itself, is built quite heavily in terms of like how urbanized it is, the walls to the inner district are even higher. And what you are able to determine with that check is that the security of that place is very severe. Very severe. You have some spellcasting arcane talent ability. You think, while because of the wild magic, it's not prevalent, it's not common, but you can imagine that probably in some spot magic is also involved as a protection, kind of like in a passive state. But you definitely see that while the outer districts are abandoned, the inner districts, the walls, the battlements, they are bustling with activity. And also, per what you already learned from the previous checks, there is quite a lot of automatons, golems, clockworks, obedient machinery that doesn't require food, that doesn't require money, that is manning the walls, the cannons, ballistas. Plenty, if not all of them, have ranged weaponry at hand. And with that scouting, you do notice that leading up to the gates, to the inner districts, you see basically sites of carnage. As you imagine, probably very recently there were riots. There was an attempt of like terrified, angry masses trying to storm the inner district, and they were slaughtered. There's no other way to call it, as you see hundreds, if not thousands, of already decaying, rotting bodies filled with crossbow bolts, with arrows. Some of them are literally torn to pieces from grape shots, from cannonball fire. Some of them are burned. Those that reached the gates themselves, they're like burned to cinders, death because of the I don't remember the proper name, but you know, the hot oil that you basically pour onto the attackers if they reach the gate.
Man, that's some intense stuff.
Yes, and seeing the scope of this destruction and death, you start getting a feeling why there's so much constructs being part of the defense.
Alright.
Because they are
It wouldn't
obedient.
hurt. I guess it wouldn't hurt to try to get near it and see if I can like trade with it. But
And yeah,
Probably
it
not.
doesn't seem to like yeah, I'm gonna say that. But that is like it is an attempt can still be made, considering the length and scope of defenses. Attempts to sneak in, at the very least, from what we are seeing on the surface, will be difficult. They are not impossible, but they will be difficult.
All right.
Because essentially, like, I'm basically saying that I'm not gonna be rolling perception checks for every automaton on the wall. I just basically set like hard, like simple 1 DC to beat, basically amassing all the defenses and all the defenders that are there.
Yeah. Still. All right. I will try to find Truth then, whenever possible. And if I see that she's like, being like sneaky or something, then
Mhm.
I'll just stay back, I guess.
You can see that she's trying to be sneaky, but she's bad at it.
Yeah, hold that thought, because that scene with the crow guy is happening before Beatrix is able to reach Fruit.
Mhm.
Rather, like it starts timeline wise. Apologies. Like, yeah, we're gonna jump to Gerard, but I forgot. I forgot.
Wait, what?
Not about Gerard. I forgot. Like, what is Hanami doing in that time?
I've been following through this entire time.
Ah, okay. So yeah, so Hanami and Fruit basically they see the this like crow
Good man.
stepping out. Now for Gerard.
Yes.
Try as you might, the outer districts clearly are not the most rich area. Probably if the city was in its prime back when all trade was bustling and whatnot, you would be finding plenty of prey to feast upon. But as it stands, the most you are getting are scraps. And in some cases, like consider taking it, but it would be even below you, as you basically finding people terrified out of their wits, just having the last scraps of their life savings, just few coins of copper or silver, fearfully awaiting, like if a fuck or a bandit will come around the next corner.
Gotcha.
And even as you try, basically try your skills against, because unless Gerard would not be risking that, but
Try my skills against what? Now I'm curious.
Against the gang members.
Oh yes.
Because
If I
you'll
can't
be-
do normal people, I'm
because
robbing the
you'll-
gangs.
Because you'll be trying that, and give me just a moment. I need to check there. Is oh yeah, so it's gonna space.
That's a meter beat. Dang it.
And remind me, you do have flight available, yes?
Yeah, if I need to fly, I can fly.
All right. So essentially, you are able to. Because again, this is what you find out, because you think, oh sure, because the gangs basically they control the situation, they like fill the vacuum, they gathered whatever resources and riches they were left behind, right? Not really. Whatever the situation, the gangs, the thugs, bandits, they are not living out like kings. They are pretty much just slightly less desperate, like whatever coin they were able to scrounge up for their own survival. And through your hands, you are able to acquire 60 gold pieces. But because at some point you had to like delve into a neighborhood that seemed to be one of the like main outposts slash strongholds of a gang, and I'm gonna say it was the Jackals. The Jackals gang. And while you are doing your best, ultimately it wasn't a matter of skill, but a matter of like how many eyes are around, and when someone started making a fuss that, hey, my coin purse is missing. What, you are accusing me I stole from you? And one thing led for another, and your figure, if not your face, I'm gonna give you this compromise that your face was not seen, but your humanoid form and the clothes you had at that point in time, they were seen. An alarm was raised. I'm gonna say like probably even a few crossbow bolts were shot at you, but because you were able, because it's a tie, so because I'm gonna give it that way, that you were still able to like prepare a escape route beforehand and basically like jump off from one of the roofs and just like fuck off, fly away, as they were not able to box you in.
What a waste of getting, caught. 60 gold pieces, and only to find out that the entirety of the area is just poor would be the only thoughts in his head.
I mean, it was pretty evident, but yeah.
Yes, you are finding more and more, I mean, not evidence, but like certainty that if there are any riches to be made, everything that wasn't already destroyed or stolen beforehand was taken into the inner district. That probably also took around a similar time. But before we jump to Fruit and Hanami, question to Gerard. I mean, sure, you did say what are Gerard Head's thoughts in this case about the recent failure to get rich. But considering your backstory, where you came from, I think, unless you want to veto that, I think it's not far to say that you perhaps had spent some time before your rebellion in a more of a city, not a village, with like nobles and generally rich folk, so to say. Does Gerard have any thoughts, opinions, or emotions regarding the situation in the city? That from how it seems like, basically the nobles and the rich folk just fucked off and closed off themselves in their golden cage.
Well, as someone who came from a more well-off family, which is in his background, uh, he would be more or less not surprised, as that is the prerogative of, well, most rich people, is to just screw the peasants when the time comes. At least that's how they would view standard normal people. And he's kind of disappointed at the fact that it appears that the noblemen escaped instead of the peasants having a full-blown uprising and actually being able to keep the city afloat. As you know, he doesn't want noble people to be rich and have money. He wants, he's chaotic good. Like, he'll do horrible things to get like the good stuff done he wants done. So he's very unhappy with the fact that the peasants never rose up during their escape. Would be his thoughts. Kind of like, there should be wealth here. They should have these things, but somehow something didn't happen. And to him, it's a little fishy that people would just let themselves be subdued like this. But, that's without the lack of seeing the bodies that Thrud has seen. So it's kind of like, I assume once he hears about that, his thoughts would conclude with, oh god, they tried and they failed so horribly.
Small correction, it was Beatrix that saw the bodies
Oh,
at the gates that peasants mob tried to storm the inner district.
Beatrix, I apologize.
Alright. And after concluding your stealth thieving spree, would you be trying to regroup with the party?
Yeah, I mean, I would, I guess, I would change up my clothing, the way I look, maybe do some body painting and some face painting, before I do that, but yeah.
Alright, so let's make one more skill check to see how well you're able to basically eliminate any chance of this coming back to bite you
Not
or
the
the party in the ass.
Okay, what skill check would you like?
If you do not... right, because I don't think there's anything this guy's related, so I think that would be still stealth based.
You can use a disguise kit and base it on charisma or...
Oh yeah,
or
that's
like a
that
performance.
as well.
Yeah.
Where is my disguise kit? Give me a second. Oh, yep, there it is. Nah, I think I'll roll stealth. I'll have a better bonuses there. If you're still willing to let me do that one.
Alright. That's fine as well.
A dirty 20. Yay.
Hello,
Alright.
I'm back. I'm sorry.
It will be good enough. That basically, if you like in the near future, if they decide to interact with the jackals, like with the rest of the party, they might be giving like a stink eye, but it's more of a case of like they will be generally more on alert because of what happened recently, and it's not the case of them like getting a sense of like, hey, didn't I see you before? So you are fine on that front. Essentially, yeah. Unless someone spills the beans, you are fine. Basically, Gerard's actions will not sour the relations with the jackals if you decide to pursue that particular gang. Now, essentially, coming back to Fruit and Hanami, at this point in time, Gerard will still be closer towards the end, but still like finishing off his shopping spree. I mean, stealing spree. while Hanami would be flying back, which is still like a couple minutes away because again, it's a big city like Phantasy Metropolis.